Hi guys, welcome back to MK Sportscars. Well, today I'm going to be talking about wiper systems. I've had a few question marks about wiper systems, how to fit them, so I'm going to do a very short presentation video on it. Now, in the build manual, in section 4 of the build manual, there is a nice diagrams for it as well. So it gives you a bit more detail in terms of measurements, where bits fit, what size holes to drill, and what dimensions from the centre to fix them all. So we can go through that and show you that in a second as well as we're going through it. But I'm going to give you a sort of overview look. Now, what you need is a scuttle. Obviously, that's your first job. Next, you'll need a wiper motor. This one's already been done, but here's a wiper motor. Then you'll need also a bracket that it mounts to, which is one of these. And then your final section piece is your stanchion, which sits on the side here. Now, first off, the scuttle will come unprepared. Obviously, you're not going to fit that. You may have had an aero screen, you're going to be fitting a windscreen, or you may be doing this for the first time. Now, if we view under here a bit more closely, what we've got here is the bracket is mounted. That has to be bonded in down here. So Finny will get a close-up of that for you to show you. Now, to bond this bracket in, first of all, you've got to drill 2 holes. Now, those will be based on these measurements here. So when I go around here, we go from 67mm up to 67mm in, gives us the first hole, as per the instruction manual here, which is on section 4, page 28. And then this stanchion will do your first hole. Now, you've just got to make sure this is level and you can drill your second hole. So once you've done those two holes for you there, they're normally a nice little M8 button head. So it's a standard drill size hole. You can then flip this over and you'll be mounting then this, which is already laser cut with your holes and bent. You'll be fixing that into that section here. You'll bond this on with some Tiger Seal worth adhesive, the stuff that we supply you to fit the front wings. You'll bond that in, clamp it with a clamp here and here as well, bolt it in with a couple of nuts and bolts, and leave that for 24 hours to set. Go and have a cup of tea, nice little evening. It'd probably be a bit shorter, but let's say 24 hours. So it's something you can prepare to do, get job, and then move on to no one other task when you're there. Once you've done that and that's bonded in, probably recommend you, if it hasn't been painted, throw a bit of paint over that as well, just to stop corrosion and rust on it, just to make it look a bit nicer. And then next job will be fitting the motor. Now the motor comes with a little bracket here. We'll pull that off in a second somehow. Right. So the motor has these studs will already be pre-welded on, and these will be fitting on like so to hold this in place. You'll be bolting that on, which is these 2 studs to align your bracket up here. That will mount the motor in position. We've put a little bit of neoprene foam here. Don't have to do that, we've just done that as an added precaution. Not required, but you can do if you feel like you want to put a bit of foam there. Now, on here, in the instruction manual, it tells you the next phase about cutting the holes, which is in from the centre line here. And it gives you the measurements online. I don't need to talk you through that here. It's better to go with the measurements online and check that through, which will then give you 2 holes, which mount here and here. Now, a top tip for those, what we use is little step drills. These go at ranges of sizes. This one's up to 32, this is up to 20mm, and you can drill the step holes in here rather than trying to buy a rather large one-piece drill bit. This kind of does everything from 4mm to 32, so it's a very handy little tool to have in your toolbox if you haven't got them. They're not very expensive. Most DIY stores probably under £10 for a pack of 3. So that's a handy little tool to use. A step drill fits in most chucks, and once you've done it on, this has a angled here with a nut that will screw your motor in underneath. So it will fit along, join these 2 up. Now, it's quite simple from there really, because we actually got that in there as well. It tells you in the instruction on page 30. And again, revert back to it about where the wheel boxes go, the measurements. It gives you the measurements 55mm from here to the first one. And it gives you the next measurement 285 from here to here, and then your final one just 100mm at the end. And then you can trim that off, because this comes as a one piece and you just trim it to suit. So all the measurements are in there for you. You can fit your wheel boxes, go up from there, and then you're set about the wiring. Now wiring is very different, but again on page 32 there is the wiring diagram in here, what the plugs and the speeds do in the back of this motor, which is this section here, for making sure it's in park and everything else as well. So this will end up fitting back onto there. So pretty simple. Follow the steps, follow the guidelines, follow the instruction manual, but it's just to give you an overview of how this looks from underneath, because it's hard to see. I get that, guys, when you're building your car, what this bracket does and how it first fits. Well, there we go. It lines up like this in there with these two holes, which will fit into your stanchion, and then once that's bolted on from here with your stanchion in place, which will fit like round here, onto there, on, and then your windscreen will fit from here. That is really solid, really, really strong, and these line up. Then you can just go about fitting your windscreen and your blades from there. So that gives you that. But section 4, pages 28 to 32 in the build manual, and that'll get your windscreen motor fitted for you.